Alright, what's going on everybody? HeySan32 here. We are back with another MK1 guide video. So first things first, I want to say, season ends in about 3 days. Omni-Man comes out on Thursday. I do plan on maining that character. He seems like he's going to be like a rushdown grappler, which is my favorite play style to play. So I will be learning him and hopefully maining him. I will be trying to make a guide for him as well. Obviously that'll take some time. I have to figure out the character and figure out what pairings work best for him as far as the cameo goes. But I do plan on doing that and potentially some more like invasions content for the new season. But one of my past videos, somebody requested that I do a Liu Kang Motaro breakdown guide. I did a video showing off this team in ranked, and to be quite honest with you, I don't think I've played against anybody using this team. I don't think I've played against anybody using Motaro cameo online yet. So this is probably a team that not too many people see. Liu Kang is a very well balanced character, and or I should say well-rounded character, and Motaro, the tools that Motaro has really complements his playstyle in allowing him to have options to enhance his offense and his defense, right? So I'm gonna break down what Motaro does to help Liu Kang. I'm not gonna do a full breakdown on Liu Kang as a character. He's pretty straightforward. He's kind of similar to MK11 if you played MK11 Liu Kang, and there's guides out there for Liu Kang. He's a very easy character to pick up. So I'm not going to go fully in depth on Liu Kang himself. Really just the synergy between the two characters. Or I should say the character and the cameo, right? So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Motaro's shield. Okay, and this is probably the move that you won't see used that often, unless you're a character that, let's say for example you're Johnny, where you don't really have a projectile, so you're using the projectile shield to kind of work your way in. However, Motaro has other options that you can use to get in for free, but you don't really need to use the shield. So I'll talk about that, when we talk about those his other moves. But for the most part with Liu Kang, the way I use the shield is basically to win the zoning war. Usually I play very aggressive, like I just try to get in, but if I have a life lead and I want to sit on it, right, you can use the projectile shield to essentially cover the neutral, and if the opponent is trying to counter zone you or have a zoning war with you, the projectile shield basically makes it so that they can't zone you at all. They can't throw a projectile because the shield will deflect it. So just to show you that this deflects projectiles, you can see right there it deflects the ice ball back at Sub-Zero. So if your opponent has a decent projectile game and they're trying to have a zoning war with you, once you call out this shield, there's nothing really they can do. They have to get in, or they have to just sit there and respect your zoning for the next however many seconds. And the good thing is, once you call this out, you can still do stuff behind it. So obviously, a character like Sub-Zero, he has a full screen slide. He can just slide right past Motaro and, get to me from full screen. But because I'm able to move independently of Motaro and still have him advance forward, I could always just bait that, block it, and then get a full combo punish on him for trying to get around my zoning, right? So that's really what I would use the shield for, but don't really use the shield that often. If I'm trying to get in, I would use either his teleport or his triple projectile, which we'll talk about the teleport right now. So the teleport, okay, it's an instant teleport. Not instant, but it's faster than Kung Lao's teleport on startup and on recovery. So for certain characters, it allows you to get different combo extensions that you wouldn't normally be able to get. Kung Lao's leave you airborne though, so you can do like jump-ins, but that's a different topic. But his teleport is very fast. And one thing with the teleport that you can do is, let's say for example, I end a combo in flying kick. So let's say I do something like this, right? You can actually end your combo in flying kick and then cancel the actual kick part at the end into the teleport and teleport behind them, and you get free Oki off of that. Because normally if you do flying kick on hit, you see it kind of sends them back and you don't actually get pressure here. which is why sometimes at the high level you'll see them end their combos in down back 4 instead of flying kick, because it actually allows you to dash up on Oki and get pressure. But with Motaro teleport, you can cancel that, the kick before the kick comes out into the teleport, and you can get Oki off of it like that. Also, if somebody's trying to keep you out, right? So let's say, like I said, you're an aggressive style Liu Kang, you want to get in, you want to pressure them, right? And somebody's at full screen, they just keep backing away, they're trying to keep you out. What you can do with Motaro teleport is you can actually throw a low fireball and then teleport behind it with Motaro. And what this will do is, if the opponent blocks this, right, you actually can get free pressure here, just to show you, whoops, just to show you that this jails if you time it right. So I set him to reversal slide, right? As you can see right there, my forward 4 jailed him. So if the opponent respects your low fireball, you can actually get in for free and get pressure off of it. So it's not just, you know, it's not just you getting in, you actually get in and it's your turn. The other thing too is, if for some reason they get clipped by this low fireball, you can actually get a combo off it. Oh, I dropped it, hold on. Oh, I dropped the end, but you get the point. That does like, I think it does like 42%. So for some reason they get clipped by low fireball from full screen. Maybe they went to go throw a projectile at the same time, and you know, normally your projectiles would have traded, but because you teleported on your low fireball, you actually were able to get behind them and get a full combo off of it and hit them for like 42% because they got clipped by low fireball. And if they block it, you get free pressure, and you know, you just get in for free. So that's the main areas that I would use the teleport for. Of course, you can always, on reaction, like let's say for example you're playing against a Raiden and he's standing there charging up the orbs, you can always just teleport behind on reaction and full combo punish him, you know, something like that. So just keep that in mind as well. And then the other way that you can get in for free, essentially, is with the triple projectile. So this triple projectile is good for him for multiple reasons. This is easily Motaro's best assist. That's why it costs the whole bar to use it. But this triple projectile can be used offensively, defensively, and in setups, right? For, you know, in pressure on knockdown. So obviously, as I just mentioned, to get in, right? So if my opponent is at full screen and they're zoning me out, if I get an opening to call this out, right, I can always just call that out, use flying kick, and just get in for free. And there's nothing really the opponent can do about it if I time the flying kick right. So if you mistime it, they can potentially down to you and hit you away, and then you won't be able to get your pressure off of it. But if you time the flying kick properly in between the hits, right, you can see right there when I timed the flying kick, the second projectile came and he blocked it immediately after my flying kick came out, so there was no room there for him to do anything. And then there's still a third projectile that comes after that, so now I'm in, and it's the same situation with the teleport where I get free pressure. Okay, you can also use the triple projectile defensively as well, so you can do the same thing that you were kind of doing with the shield, but instead with zoning. So I can use this triple projectile now and essentially just look at Sub-Zero's health bar, right? Right. So that was all like guaranteed. That was like what, 8% chip damage that they just took. Obviously you could flawless block, right? But you know, you have to have the execution for that. So most people aren't gonna flawless block it. If they do flawless block it, you know, more power to them, right? But if they don't flawless block, it's like 8% chip guaranteed. All of that just locks you down. And if for some reason you get hit by this projectile, I don't know why my game just froze. If for some reason you get hit by this projectile, right, that's 21% damage you just took. Mind you, that's all unbreakable. Projectiles are not breakable in this game. Okay, so that's 21 just because you, let's say for example, you know, you got impatient in neutral, you jumped, you tried to get in, right? And you got clipped by one of those projectiles and you end up eating that entire sequence. That's 21% guaranteed damage you just took because you got clipped by, you know, either low fireball or you got clipped by Motaro's projectile, right? So that's also very good. And then, like I said, you can just get in for free with it. You can also use it in setups. So it's better used in the corner, but you can always, instead of going for like a traditional ender, you can end your combo in a setup. Whoops. Right? End your combo in Motaro. And then now on Oki, right, they have to worry about that triple projectile, especially when I dash forward in front of it, because now that I'm in front of Motaro, they can't hit Motaro and stop the projectiles from coming out. So they basically have to respect that. But in the corner, it's a lot better, because in the corner, I'm right on top of them, right? And so in the corner, you can do setups where, okay, let's say for example, I set him to block here, right? I can go for a throw here, and I drop the end of it, but it's basically right. So that's basically like I dropped the end of the combo, which would have only been like an additional 3% damage, and got a guaranteed setup here with a throw, right? Where they're forced to get hit by the throw, even if they tech the throw. So I'll show you, right? Even if they tech the throw, right? Oh, I dropped it, but it doesn't matter. Even if they tech the throw, it does scale more than if they would have normally got hit by the throw, so it doesn't do the same 18%. But it's still more damage than what the actual combo would have been. If I would have just ended in, like, let's say 3-3-3 flying kick. So going for the throw, whether they tech it or not, is basically like an additional, like, at least 10% damage in total off of what you normally would have got off a guaranteed setup, right? And let's say, for example, they try to wake up armor or something here, right? So we'll have him wake up with slide. So we do the same setup, right? We can actually break the armor. Well, that wasn't the combo I wanted to do, but you get the point. So you can break the armor, and then you could just do forward 4 as a stagger, as it doesn't matter, because the projectiles, if they block it, the projectile is going to come out anyway, and then you still get free pressure off of it. So actually, what I'll show you, you can also do here is, like, I can do that same thing, right? Pressure with forward 4, and then still get the, right? And still get the throw set up there, as you saw that. So that, they couldn't escape that, right? I just show it one more time, just so you can see. If you look at the hit counter, right? So that's a guaranteed. So you can just OS it on wake up and just do forward 4, right? And if you time it right and they try to armor, you'll break the armor. If they block it, because the projectiles are still coming out, they still have to respect you, and then you can still go for the grab setup. And even if they like duck it, because the projectile comes out and it's a mid, they can't really do anything about it, right? It comes out too quick after the throw to where they can't even down to you. So yeah, that's basically a guaranteed setup in the corner. So you do drop the combo, but instead of adding on was like 3% to the end of your combo, you sacrifice that 3-4% for the setup, which gives you basically a guarantee like 18, right? So that's the triple projectile essentially. So offensively you can use it, pressure to get in, and then defensively, as I said, you can use it for zoning. And then you also have the low projectile of this, which is forward in Cameo. This only uses half of the Cameo meter, and this is good in pressure because it's plus on block. It's kind of similar to like Kung Lao's low hat, where you can use it like at the end of strings and stuff like that, and you get like pressure. But this being +5 is really strong for a few reasons. So first of all, most of the strings you would use this off of do have gaps in them. So like, for example, if I do something like this, there's actually a gap there. They can poke out of it. They can actually just jab me out of it. They can armor out of it, right? Same thing off of like if I do 2-2 into it, 1-2 into it. All of these have gaps that they can interrupt. So the first thing that you want to make sure you do is you condition your opponent to respect you. So you could always do, like, for example, you could do 2-2, which is +3, and then go for like a down 1 check just to make them respect you. Or you could always just do the full string, right, which is completely safe on block, has no gap in it. Once they start respecting your option there, or, you know, if you're doing this a lot, which obviously that, you know, there's a gap in that too, but, you know, give them an option that they're looking for, that they're waiting for, to try to punish, or something like that. And then that's when you start using this in pressure. And now, out of these plus frames, right, the reason +5 is so powerful is because you actually get a guaranteed strike throw out of +5. Okay, so what I mean by that is, so we'll set him to reversal, down 1. So out of +5, obviously you can see I'm always going to beat him out, okay? Throws are 10 frames in Mortal Kombat, okay? Throws are 10 frames. Because I'm +5, my throw is basically 5 frames, right? Relative to when my opponent can press something, my throw is basically 5 frames, right? His poke is 7. So my throw will be active before his poke becomes active. Throws beat pokes in Mortal Kombat. So if I do this +5 projectile and I time my grab properly, I should beat out his poke, right? So you can see right there, he got throw counter, okay? So every single time that you do this projectile on block, if you time your throw properly, it should always beat out their poke. So if they're trying to mash, doesn't matter. If you go for the throw, you will win, okay? Now, the strike here, right, there's a couple of options. You could always do back 2, which is a 10 frame mid. The issue with back 2 is if they block back 2 and you commit to back 2-3, right? So let's say, for example, like, you think they're going to try to mash and you commit to back 2-3 and they block the back 2, they can always just duck the last hit of the string and punish you. And if you just stagger back 2 and they do get hit, you're missing out on potentially getting damage out of that, right? So what I like to do instead is sweep, right? As you see, his sweep is also 10 frames. If they get hit by it, obviously it's a hard knockdown. I get Oki pressure, but it's also +1 on block. So it's still my turn after they block my sweep, right? As you can see right there, I beat him out. So I still get pressure off it. If they get hit, I get the knockdown. I can still get Oki pressure. If they block it, it's still my turn. They still got to respect me, right? But it eliminates the risk of committing to back 2-3 or not committing to back 2-3 because I was too scared to, and then it ends up hitting and now I don't get damage out of it, right? So I just go for sweep out of that. And you can see here, if you time this right, my sweep should win, okay? So now you have a situation where you actually have real strike throw, okay? 10 frame grab, 10 frame sweep, or 10 frame mid, whichever. They have to respect it. Now, once they realize they can't poke, right? They can't mash. They're either gonna try to armor or they're gonna respect you, okay? Once you've garnered their respect after the projectile, right? You're gonna want to start using forward 4. The key is to be able to start using forward 4 because now off the strike throw they have to guess, right? Am I gonna throw them? Am I gonna go for a mid, right? If they read throw, they're gonna try to duck it, right? And then my forward 4 hits. Forward 4 is the better option as a mid over back 2 because it is hit confirmable, right? There's no gap in forward 4-3, so I can just do forward 4-3 on block. There's no risk there, right? I might, give up my turn, but there's no risk there, and I can hit confirm it into a full combo, okay? So the goal is to get them to respect you to the point where you can go for forward 4 instead of having to go for like sweep or back 2 as your strike throw option, okay? So there's a couple of, like I said, a couple of different strings that I like using it off of. 2-2 is one of them. Like I said, there's a gap in this, right? But if you do 2-2, I'm +3, so I can always just down one, take my turn. 2-2-1 also has no gap, so I can get them to respect me. And then once I start doing, once I get the respect, then you can do 2-2 into the low fireball, +5 now, and now I get my strike throw situation, my free strike throw situation. I also like to do it off of stand 3. And this is especially good in the corner because, so 3-2, you can see here is +2 on block. That has no gap in it, and it hits overhead. And I can always like down 3 check him. So if he tries to down 1, take his turn back, he can always just back up. But the reason I say it's really good in the corner is because, as you can see here, there's no pushback. So this is guaranteed +2, and there's no gap in that, so they have to respect it. So then you can start throwing out the low projectile there, and it's like a little bit of a built-in 50-50. It's not really anything crazy, but the thing about that is, regardless of if they guess right or not, it's still my turn, right? The overhead is +2, the low is +5. So in either situation, they could guess right, but they still got to respect me. So if they block this, right, it's still my turn with a down 1. And if they block this, I get strike throw. And in the corner, this is one more thing I should have mentioned with Motaro's teleport. I forgot to talk about. Liu Kang can actually combo off of his throw with Motaro's teleport, the same way you can with Kung Lao teleport. So if I get a throw here, I get a combo, and you basically get double the damage on your throw off the teleport. So Motaro's same thing as Kung Lao, allows you to get a combo off this teleport. But in the corner, right, so that situation we just talked about before, where once you get them to respect this projectile, now the strike throw in this situation is very, very scary. Because if they get thrown here, right, if they get thrown here, now they're actually losing like some decent damage. That's 27%. And if for some reason, let's say they try to duck the throw and they get hit, right, you could lose a lot of damage because you guessed wrong on the strike throw situation there. So that low projectile, right, if you can get them to respect this, that low projectile really helps with Liu Kang's offense and pressure. And it gives him, another option to set up a legitimate strike throw situation where your opponent has to guess. And, having to guess in this situation against Liu Kang is very scary. But yeah, that is essentially Liu Kang Motaro. There's really nothing much else to it. It's very straightforward, right? You use the triple projectiles if you want to get in or if you want to keep them out. You use the teleport to combo off throw, or if you can also use it to get in on somebody that's being overly passive or really trying to zone you out. If you don't want to spend your entire cameo bar, or maybe you don't have your entire cameo bar, you can use the low fireball into teleport option to get in and get free pressure started. And then the biggest thing outside of the setting up the triple projectile is getting them to respect the low projectile. So now you actually get like better pressure. I mean, Liu Kang's pressure is already really good. His frames are already really good. Adding that low projectile on top of it and allowing him to get even more extended pressure and legitimate strike throw mix is very powerful for him. But yeah, that is essentially the team of Liu Kang Motaro. Hopefully this reaches a decent amount of people and they give this team a try. Again, I mentioned this in every one of my videos, but even though this game has been out for a while now, there's still a lot of things that people haven't explored and figured out yet. So hopefully this will get people to explore this team a little bit and explore other teams with Motaro. I think he's a super underrated cameo. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.